The envelope was half buried under a stack of catalogs, glossy and festive. I wouldn't have noticed it if I hadn't dropped my keys. It wasn't addressed to me. Of course it was, and single quotes T. Inside was the photo. My family on the front steps of the house I grew up in, smiling, coordinated in burgundy and charcoal. Margot in pearls. Victor with his hand on Clara's shoulder. Clara holding her daughter. Her son squinting at the winter sun. The golden retriever even had a matching scarf. I wasn't in it. I stared at it for a long time. Then I flipped it over. Merry Christmas from the Marlowes 2025 in Clara's handwriting. I walked into the kitchen, set the photo down beside the espresso machine, and waited for the tremor in my hands to stop. The phone rang. I let it. Then it rang again. On the third try, I answered. Elena, darling. Margaret's voice poured out like syrup over cold marble. Did you get the card? Yes. Isn't it lovely? We had a photographer come to the house. Clara found her through that parenting group she's always going on about. Very tasteful, don't you think? You sent me a copy of a family photo I'm not in. Silence. Elena, really. Don't be dramatic. I'm not. I'm observant. Another pause. Well, we only had so much space on the card, and it was Clara's idea to make it just the immediate family this year. You know, parents, children, grandchildren. I'm your child. Elena. The tone shifted. Still polished, but sharp now. You've been so distant. You didn't come to Thanksgiving. I had court the next day. I told you. You could have rearranged. Clara flew in from Connecticut with 2 toddlers. You don't even have. I'm not married, and I don't have children. I'm aware. More silence. I could hear her exhale, slow and precise. Victor's voice filtered in from the background. Tell her we didn't mean anything by it. She knows that. Victor, Margot snapped, then softened again for me. Elena, it was a holiday card. That's all. No need to spiral into some emotional vendetta. I almost laughed. Instead, I said, you could have asked me to be in it. We didn't think you'd want to, she said quickly. Too quickly. You always seem so busy, right? Elena, she tried again, a little too sweet now. Don't let this turn into something ugly. We're having dinner next Friday. You should come. Who else will be there? Just us, Victor and me. Clara and the kids are flying back east. It'll be quiet. I'll think about it. I hung up before she could say more. The photo stayed on the kitchen counter for 3 days. On the 4th, I laid it flat on my scanner. A few minutes later, it was preserved in high-resolution detail, filed under evidence. That night, I had dinner with an old colleague. I didn't mention the card. I smiled, made small talk, sipped wine. My face moved the right way. No one noticed anything different. On Friday, I walked into my parents' dining room at 6:58 p.m. Margot opened the door herself. She looked me up and down. You wore navy. You asked me to dinner, not a photo shoot. Victor rose from the table when I entered. Elena, he said, half smiling. You look well. You too. I sat, still playing golf, every Sunday, with the same men who still cheat at scorekeeping. We shared a dry chuckle. Margot returned with wine. I opened the Chardonnay you liked, she said, pouring with ceremonial care. Unless you've switched to something trendier. It's fine. We clinked glasses. The roast chicken arrived, and Margot launched into updates about Clara's kids. One lost a tooth. The other won a class award for kindness. I let her talk. Victor nodded occasionally. I chewed, drank, and waited. Halfway through dessert, she said, Clara felt just awful when she realized you'd be getting the card without knowing. It really was an oversight. That's not true, I said calmly. Clara doesn't forget things. She's thorough. Like me. Elena, Margot warned, don't make this into some indictment. I looked at my father. Did you know? I wasn't in the photo. He fidgeted with his napkin. I thought, maybe you'd be added in later. You thought I'd be photoshopped into my own family? Margot's voice hardened. This is why we didn't push it. You take everything so personally. It's a picture, not a verdict. No, it's a mirror. You all finally captured what you've always felt. Elena, Victor tried. It wasn't meant to hurt. But it did. They said nothing. The room breathed with tension. I'm not angry, I said. Not anymore. I just wanted to see if you'd admit it. Even now, you can't. Margot opened her mouth, but I stood. I have to go, I said. Thank you for dinner. Victor rose reflexively. Margot didn't move as I reached the door. She said, Are you really going to let a photograph undo everything? No, I said, turning slightly. You did that long before the camera clicked. And I left. Asterisk asterisk, do you remember the year they forgot my birthday? Clara blinked. No. I tilted my glass. Watched the amber swirl. 10th grade. I came downstairs, no cake, no card. Just an empty kitchen and you yelling about your broken curling iron. That's not Elena. They didn't forget. You always say that. They did. And you knew it. We sat across from each other in the wine bar near her hotel. Neutral ground. She hadn't made a reservation. I had. I always made the reservations. Elena, I was a kid. She said, It's not fair to hold that over me. You were 13. Old enough to remember. She stirred her drink with the straw, even though it wasn't meant for stirring. Why bring this up now? I set the glass down. Because I found the photo. The one you all sent without me. Her mouth twitched. You got that? Yes. Elena, come on. It was just a card. It was a declaration. You're being... No. I cut in. Precise. Clara sighed. Mom didn't mean anything by it. She just wanted something clean. Symmetrical. You're never in town. I was in town. She didn't ask. She thought you'd say no. That's the problem, I said. You all assume I'd rather not be included than risk being disappointed again. She leaned back. You always act like you're above it. Like you're observing the family from behind glass. I am behind glass. Clara, I didn't put it there. You isolate yourself. I protect myself. You don't call. Neither do you. She crossed her arms. You think I had it easy. They shoved expectations down my throat. The perfect daughter act, it wasn't my idea. You got applause. I got absence. Her voice dropped. And now what? You want an apology, a medal. I want acknowledgement. For once. She looked away. Dad said not to send it. He said it felt wrong. Mom overruled. That landed harder than I expected. Victor had a voice. Clara's lips pressed thin. You always call them by their names. Like you're not part of us. They act like I'm not. I adjusted. Elena, I remember your birthday. Parties, I said. The backyard tents. The dresses. The photos. Remember when you turned 15 and they rented a violinist? I didn't ask for that. But you got it. What do you want me to say? That you saw it. I saw it, she said. I saw how quiet they were around you, how they never touched you. I saw you waiting for them to show up to your debate finals. They didn't. I did. Yes, I said quietly. You did. She hesitated. But I didn't say anything. I should have. You didn't have to fix it, I said. Just admit. It happened. I was afraid of being you, she whispered. I exhaled, sharp and slow. Thank you. She met my eyes. You were always stronger than me. No, I said, just better at hiding the bruise. We sat in silence. The clink of ice, the low murmur of strangers, the soft pulse of a song I didn't recognize. I think, Clara said, Mom wanted the card to feel like a success. Kids, grandkids, something to mail to her country club friends. Family as performance, I said. She's always done that. I played along. And I didn't. You didn't know how. I didn't want to. She reached into her purse and pulled out a folded napkin, dabbing her eyes. I'm not here to defend them. I didn't realize it still hurt. It stopped hurting, I said. Now it just cuts. Clara laughed once soft, brittle. That sounds like you. I nodded. Memory is a precise blade. She looked at her drink. Do you want to come for dinner next week? Just me and the kids. No performance. I considered it. I'll think about it. Her smile was cautious. Fair enough. I paid the check. She didn't argue. I think she knew why. The front door opened before I knocked. Margot stood framed in warm light, dressed in ivory cashmere, holding a wine glass like a prop. Elena, she said, smiling too quickly. You're right on time. I am. Come in. It's just the three of us tonight. Quiet. Cozy. Victor appeared behind her. Smells good, doesn't it? Your mother's been at it since noon. I stepped inside. The house smelled like rosemary and staged forgiveness. They led me to the dining room table, already set, silver polished, the good dishes. A single taper candle flickered between us. Performative warmth. Margot poured Chardonnay. Still your favorite. I took the glass. Sure. We clinked. Victor gestured toward the chair across from him. Please. I sat. Margot joined me, arranging her napkin like a set piece. So, tell us what's new. Any interesting cases? I took a sip. Tax fraud last week. Embezzlement the week before. The usual. Still working those long hours. She asked, Do you want me to say I'm tired? Or fulfilled? Her smile tightened. Just making conversation. You always make conversation when you want to avoid something. Victor cleared his throat. The roast is ready. He stood and retreated to the kitchen. Margaret's fingers curled around her glass. Elena, why did you invite me? She blinked. You're our daughter. You sent out a card to 50 people with a photo I wasn't in. It wasn't meant to exclude. But it did. Victor returned, placing a platter in front of us. Let's eat first, he said quietly. We passed dishes like strangers at a charity banquet. Polite, tense, careful. I cut into the roast. You photoshopped me out. That's not true, Margot said. Don't lie. The shadow lines didn't match. Clara was moved left to close the space where I would have been. Victor set his fork down. Elena, no. I said. This is the part where you both pretend nothing happened. That we're just catching up over chicken and Chardonnay. I'm trying. Margot said. You never give us away in. I gave you 38 years. You used them to shape me into negative space. That's not fair. I was a ghost in my own house. Margaret's voice snapped. You've always been cold. distant. You made yourself invisible. Victor's eyes darted between us. You taught me how, I said. By example. He tried to speak. I stopped him with a glance. I'm not angry, I said. I'm auditing. Margot frowned. Auditing? Every conversation, every silence, every omission labeled love when it was just avoidance. She leaned forward. You think we didn't love you? I think you loved the idea of a daughter. Just not the one you got. Victor reached for his wine. That's not true. You backed every decision she made, even when it erased me. Margot snapped her napkin onto the table. We did what we thought was best. For who? She didn't answer. Victor's voice was low. I never wanted to leave you out of the card, but you let her. He stared at his plate. I didn't want to fight. You never do. Silence settled between us like ash. Margot finally spoke. You came tonight to punish us. No, I said. I came to confirm what I already knew. And I was right. She stood. Dinner's over. I stood too. Yes, it is. And I walked out. I unlocked the drawer in my home office, slid out the folder, and laid it flat. My name in gold embossing across the top. The draft was exactly where I left it for copies. Signed but not filed, Margot. Victor. Clara. Clara's kids. Even a line item for the dog. Generosity. 3 years old and already out of date. I dialed Lena and she answered on the second ring. You never call after 10 unless it's scandalous or surgical. It's surgical, I said. You up? Barely. Tell me. I'm rewriting the will. A pause. They did something again. They left me out of the family photo. That's grotesque. They mailed it to me, smiling like it was holy. I heard her exhale. So the estate rewrite is happening? Yes. Tonight. You want me to review it now. Just listen. Always. I opened the file on my laptop. Current beneficiaries. Parents, sister, her children. 50% of liquid assets divided between Clara's kids for education. Remaining estate split evenly between parents and Clara. No charitable donations. There's a placeholder. Lena's tone shifted. You were too generous. I was afraid not to be. Not anymore. No. Now I'm angry. Strategically. Good, she said. Cut them. I hit backspace on the first clause. Margot's name vanished. Elena, Lena said softly. This isn't just numbers. I know. Do you want to reassign the percentages or start fresh? Fresh. Okay. Who stays? You. That's flattering. You're the executor. Still flattering. I deleted Victor's clause. The room felt lighter. I'm leaving a scholarship, I said. Named for my high school debate coach. The one who drove for hours to your regionals. Yes. Approved. And a bequest to St. Cecilia's Legal Aid Clinic. The one we interned at. I'll update the language, she said. You want your assets to support them directly or via endowment. Direct. No delays. Understood. I stared at Clara's name. She doesn't need my money. No. She'll be confused. Angry. She already erased you. I pressed delete. Silence. Lena broke it. Do you feel different? Lighter. That's grief burning off. Good. She paused. Want to add personal statements? Letters? No. That's their language. I use action. I'll format the new draft. Email in the morning. Thank you. You don't owe them your legacy, Elena. I know. Now. You'll sleep better tonight. I already am. She hesitated. Want me to stay on the line? No. I said, I'm done. And for once, I meant it. I started with emails. Subject: Emergency. Dated March 18, 2021. Clara's name in all caps. The body was frantic: legal bills, custody risk, freezing joint accounts. She asked for $10,000. I wired 12. Did she ever pay it back? Lena asked. No. We were in my office. Lena scrolled through the folder I'd titled Incidental Generosity. She raised an eyebrow. This is a lot, she asked. I gave. Lena clicked another file. Unopened gifts. Check the tracking numbers. Christmas 2019, her kids. I sent a drone kit and a hardback collection of Beatrix Potter. She signed for them. I found them in the hall closet last month. Still wrapped. She didn't even pretend. No. Lena leaned back. Want me to run a statement on total transfers? I already did. I handed her a spreadsheet. 23,712. Over 3 years. Lena studied the list. You itemized everything? Even the bottle of wine she begged for during her mediation weekend. She whistled. You're methodical. I'm a lawyer. She looked at me. Why now? I want it documented. Not for court. For me. Lena nodded slowly. Not revenge. Inventory. Exactly. Do you want to confront her? No, I said. I want to know the architecture of absence. What I gave. What she did with it. And what she didn't. I pointed to a cell in the spreadsheet. March 22, 2022. I sent $5,000 for private therapy. Said she couldn't sleep, couldn't eat. Did she go? She booked a spa trip to Sedona 2 days later. Instagram still has the photos. Lena exhaled. Okay. You're building a case. Not for court. For clarity. She said I was the only one she could count on. And then she stopped counting. Exactly. We were quiet. I clicked to the next file. Text messages, screenshots. Dates? No. Replies. Can I ask something? Lena said. Yes. If she asked again, today, would you help her? I didn't answer right away. No. Because of the money. Because of the silence. Lena nodded. Absence is louder than betrayal. It's colder. It's deliberate. She looked at me. You're sure you don't want confrontation? I want acknowledgement. And that's different. Lena reached for her laptop. Then let's finish this archive. We worked in silence. I felt the weight shift, less like rage, more like record keeping. Like proof that I hadn't imagined the empty space. ***. Lena arrived at my house just after 8. Coat unbuttoned, tablet in hand. You ready? She asked, brushing snow off her sleeves. Yes, I said. No sentiment. No second guessing. We settled at the dining table. She powered up the screen and opened the trust draft. Current structure, she said, scrolling. Standard bloodline allocation. Primary beneficiaries. Victor, Margot, Clara. Clara's children contingent upon her survival. All to be removed. You sure you don't want to leave them a token? No bones for the dogs. Lena smiled without softness. Understood. We began with the preamble. She read aloud. This trust is established by Elena Marlowe. In full awareness and clarity of intent. Change clarity to conviction. I said. Nice. She murmured, typing. Now, charitable disbursements. We discussed St. Cecilia's. Yes. 70,000. Unrestricted. Specific fund or operating budget. Operating. They need breathing room. Added. Next. Coach Reed Memorial Scholarship, 50,000 seed. Annual awards to go to debate students from low-income households. Named after him. Yes, she typed. He still sends you birthday cards, doesn't he? Every year. Never missed one. Lena nodded. Loyalty deserves legacy. I handed her another slip. Add the Domestic Advocacy Fund. 40,000 to be distributed among shelters and legal aid groups. All New York-based. Yes. Done. We paused. She let the silence settle. Next section, she said. Personal designations. Previously. Clara, Margot, Victor. Distribution of home, car, jewelry. Financial instruments. Strike all 3 names. No alternates. Not in the family. You want me to list the assets as retained by the trust until liquidated? Yes. Net proceeds go to the entities above. Elegant, she said. You're sure? I'm certain. She didn't push. And the apartment, donated to St. Cecilia's as a staff residence. They're short on housing for fellows. She smiled. Smart. I know. She scrolled again. Executor remains me. Yes. Power of attorney. Advance directives? You. Confirmed. Travel clauses. Strike them. Why? Because no one's going anywhere. She gave a short laugh, then turned serious. Statements to the family. No. You want to include a final message. No. Words. Just outcomes. Lena looked at me. This is surgical. That's what it needed to be. Do you feel anything? Relief. She saved the draft and sat back. Then we did it right. Send the final version to my legal team. Tomorrow. I'll review it Monday. Want to notarize Tuesday? Let's do it. She closed the tablet. You want a drink? No, I said. I want silence. She stood, wrapped her coat, then paused. This was never about revenge. No, I said. It was about precision. And we didn't say anything else. We didn't have to. The house smelled like cinnamon and performance. Clara opened the door. You came. You asked me to. You look good, she said. Sharper than usual. Must be the lighting. Laughter bubbled behind her children. Maybe music. She stepped aside. Inside, the tree blinked in choreographed rhythm. Candlelight flickered along polished wood and curated glass. Margot turned as I entered. Elena, she said, lips stretched thin. So glad you could make it. Victor, I said. He nodded from the armchair, drink in hand. Traffic okay? It was. Clara led me to the couch. I was just telling them about Dylan's science fair. Winning project? I asked. Of course. Solar desalination system. His teacher called it advanced for his age. Nice to see him applying what I helped fund. She blinked. Sorry? Nothing. Margot handed me a flute of champagne. Just in time. Toast's about to start. We stood. She raised her glass. To family, she said, and the future we build together. To family, Clara echoed. Smiling to hard, Victor muttered something under his breath and drank. I sipped. Clara turned to me. Are you still working that huge estate case? I finished it? Big payout. I smiled. For the client. You always were so private, Margot said. Even as a child. Privacy isn't absence, I replied. Her smile froze. Clara pivoted. We've been meaning to ask, do you still talk to Lena? She was always a little intense. She's effective. She made that crack about mom's pearls. Remember? I remember Lena watching you cry on a courthouse bench when no one else came. Clara's eyes narrowed. That's not fair. I agree. Margot cleared her throat. Elena, would you help me bring out dessert? I'm fine here. Clara reached for her clutch, pulled out her phone. Oh, wait, look at this. She scrolled, held up a photo. The Sedona spa trip. Didn't it look amazing? I remember it. You weren't there. No. But I paid for it. Victor looked up. Margot frowned. Excuse me? Clara laughed. Awkward. Elena. I reached into my coat pocket and took out the envelope. What's that? Clara asked. Repayment plan. With interest. She didn't take it. I itemized everything, I said. Law school taught me how to audit. Margot's voice went brittle. That's enough. Clara looked stunned. This isn't necessary. No, I said. It's overdue. Victor set his drink down. Let's not do this here. We already are. Clara opened the envelope. Her eyes scanned quickly. You calculated interest. 3%, compounded annually. This is absurd. No, I said. It's precise. Margot's tone dropped. You think money makes you better. I think accountability is rare, and I value it. Clara's voice cracked. I said thank you. You didn't. Silence. Victor looked at me. You really came to do this? No, I said. I came to leave. I placed my glass on the side table and walked out, the envelope still trembling in Clara's hands. Asterisk asterisk, the hospital room smelled like bleach and plastic. My wrist throbbed beneath the cast. Lena sat in the chair beside me, coat draped over her. Lap, tablet open. You really scared me, she said, voice low. Do you remember the impact? I remember the sound. Metal folding. Tires skidding. She exhaled. The fact that you're alive is luck. No. The seatbelt was strategic. She shook her head. Only you could make trauma sound like a boardroom decision. My chest hurts. You fractured a rib. And your sense of humor. I looked at her. I want to review the estate. She paused. Now? Yes. You're on morphine. I'm lucid. Lena opened the file. Draft still unsigned. I want them to see it. You sure? Yes. Okay. Let's walk through it. Your total estate valuation is just over 7 figures. Primary disbursements remain. St. Cecilia's legal aid, Coach Reed scholarship, and domestic advocacy fund. Correct. Executor. You still trust me with that? I only trust you. She blinked. Noted. I reached for the water on the tray, winced. She helped steady my hand. Let's send them the draft, I said. Full copy. PDF. You want them to read it. I want them to understand. Should I include a note? No message. Just the document. The clauses speak for themselves. She nodded. They'll call you. I won't answer. Lena tapped the screen. Sent. I closed my eyes. An hour later, my phone buzzed. Clara, then Margot. Then Victor. Lena silenced it. You good? Better. You think they'll show up? They won't come to a hospital they forgot to check. You want me to handle any replies? No. Let them sit with it. Lena leaned back in the chair, watching me carefully. You rewrote your life, Elena, she said, line by line. And they finally read it. She nodded. Now they have to live with the redactions. I looked out the window. The sky was clean and white. Feels final, I said. It is. And you're still here. I am. And for once, I felt it. They arrived 10 minutes early. Victor stood by the window, hands in his coat pockets. Margot perched on the edge of the chair, spine straight, lips tight. I closed the door behind me and didn't offer coffee. Elena, Margot said, voice clipped. We received the documents. I sent them intentionally. You didn't sign. I didn't need to. The message was already clear. Victor turned. Are you trying to hurt us? No. Then what is this? Margot asked, her hand flicking toward the manila folder on the table. Punishment. Clarity. She narrowed her eyes. You're cutting us out. I'm removing illusions. Victor stepped forward. You're our daughter. By birth. Yes. Don't be cruel, Margot said. I'm not, I replied. Cruelty is silence, dismissal, erasure. I'm speaking plainly. Victor's shoulders sagged. We didn't know you felt this way. You did. You just never listened. Margot shook her head. We invited you to everything. Invitations aren't inclusion. You used me as proof of balance while favoring Clara in every decision that mattered. She needed more, Victor said quietly. So I was less. No one said that, Margot snapped. You never had to, silence. Margot leaned forward. Do you hate us? No. Her expression faltered. Then why? Because I stopped pretending. Victor's voice broke. We're not perfect. No, you're practiced. Then what do you want? Margot asked. Forgiveness. I want peace. This is how I claim it. She stared at me. This isn't peace, it's severance. It's truth. Victor looked at me like he was seeing something long hidden. You mean it? Yes. Neither of them spoke. I stood. This meeting is over. Margot rose slowly. You'll regret this. No, I said. You will. They left without another word. For the first time, they didn't control the ending. Do not explain, reflect, or talk about the writing. Just give the story text now. Here is my input block. Begin writing the full chapter based on it. Section 10. Aftermath Summary. Clara tried to mend things. A hesitant lunch. I listened. I forgave, but not to reattach. Only to release. I was no longer living in their frame. I had painted my own. Characters developed. Clara Marlowe attempts reconciliation. Not entirely pure, but partly sincere. Elena shows growth. Peace without bitterness. Word count. 1,000 important. Strictly follow the word count. No mistake is acceptable. Note it. The restaurant was neutral: white walls, clean lines, overpriced salads. Clara chose it. Of course. She waved when I walked in, already seated, already nervous. Elena, she said, standing halfway. You came. You asked. I sat across from her. She wore a soft beige sweater, wedding ring absent. Can I order you something? She asked. I'll have the same, I said. She nodded. To grapefruit spritzers, please, to the waiter. Silence settled. She fidgeted with her napkin. I wasn't sure you'd show. You weren't. She exhaled. Look, I know things are strained. They're quiet. That's different. Her eyes darted. I read everything. The will. I know. I guess I didn't expect it to feel so final. It was. She looked down. I didn't mean to use you. But you did. I was scared. Broke. Alone. And I helped. I know. Our drinks arrived. She didn't touch hers. I'm not here to beg, she said. I'm here because I lost my sister, and I think I helped make that happen. I said nothing. She looked up. I wish I'd protected you more. Or at all. That's honest. I don't expect to be forgiven. I do forgive you. She blinked. You do. I just did. But then what now? Nothing. She swallowed. So we're done. We're free. She nodded slowly. That's fair. I stood. She didn't. Take care, Clara. You too. Outside, the wind was sharp, but I felt nothing but calm. I wasn't leaving anyone behind. I was walking forward. Finally light. The conference room buzzed with quiet laughter and clinking glasses. End of year celebration, the director had called it. Nothing flashy, just catered lunch and framed certificates for service. I stood near the window, sipping black coffee, listening. You're Elena, right? A new intern asked. Legal oversight? That's me. You're kind of a legend. Only in very specific circles. They laughed, awkward and genuine. Someone called out from the other side of the room. Board members, come on, photo time. Chairs scraped. Coats were shrugged off. A camera tripod stood against the wall, waiting. I hesitated. Don't overthink it, Melanie said, nudging me toward the group. You're part of this. I stepped in. Found a spot in the middle. Not the end. Closer, someone said. You're too spaced out. I moved in. Okay, said the intern behind the lens. Ready 3, 2, I smiled. A click. The flash went off. No one blinked. You looked like you meant that, Melanie said after. I did. She grinned. Want a copy? Yes. Someone handed me one later, printed already. Edges crisp. We stood shoulder to shoulder. Arms relaxed. Eyes forward. I looked at myself in the photo. I was in it. And I wasn't out of place.